YouTube, what is good? We're back for another episode of Marvin's Room. Thank you guys, as always, for joining me once again, wherever you're at in the world. To the new subscribers, welcome to the channel. I wanted to jump on here today real quick and talk to you guys about revision, because I think it's a great practice. I think it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily do when they are trying to manifest a specific person specifically, because revision is something that's really good for helping with relationships and things like that. And whether it's with a boss or whether it's, like I just said, with a specific person, or, just things around that have to do with relationships. That's it. Revision is really, really good for that. And you can revise other things as well, but I think most people will use revision as a tool to heal and revise, some sort of problem or issue in a relationship that they might be having. But like I said, what I'm noticing is I feel like a lot of people don't really do revision. From talking to people and coaching people around the world, I've noticed that revision is something that is kind of skipped out on. And I kind of mentioned that in one of my videos before, where I was like, there are things that you guys might need to do in order to manifest the things that you want. But these things are things that you're skipping out on, because this whole generation, this world that we live in now, is like, it's a microwave generation. I mean, we have so many things at our fingertips. We can learn information just with the click of a button. We don't have to go to libraries anymore. We don't have to do any of this type of stuff anymore. And, I just noticed that it's the same thing with manifesting. Like with manifesting, you guys, it's just like people don't want to do the work. And I see so many people so many of you guys want to just affirm, or whatever the case may be, because, you have, different people saying that's what you're supposed to do. You have different people saying that's all it takes. You know what I'm saying? But understand, like I always say and preach to you guys, everything isn't for everyone. And there's a reason why there's 7+ billion people in this world. There's a reason why there's multiple teachers, because there will be people that you resonate with more than others, and there will be techniques that you will resonate with more than others. So there is no right or wrong. Do what works for you. But like I said, I've noticed that revision is something that I think is a key part of manifesting healed relationships. And it's something that I did, and I'm getting ready to get into detail and tell you guys exactly how I did it, specifically revision, and how I think is a great way for you to do it. Neville mentions in one of his books, I forget which book, because he's written about 10 books. And anybody that's read Neville books, you kind of lose track of, the things he says in different books, because he pretty much says the same thing in all of his books and all of his lectures. But there's like little intricacies that he may mention in this book that's not in another book. So like I said, anybody that's read Neville, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's read Neville, I'm sorry. And but yeah, in one of Neville's books, he mentioned the cause of all evil essentially are the unrevised scenes of the past. And I thought that was so powerful. I was like, wow, that makes so much sense, because so many people, we keep replaying the old story, which is, like he said, the unrevised scenes of the past. And that's why we keep getting what we're getting, is because we continue to replay and relive the old story in our mind. And as you guys know how powerful the mind is, and eventually in your subconscious mind, it's just going to keep replaying that story, and you're going to essentially keep going through the same things because you haven't changed that old story. And so revision, to me, the way I do revision is, and the way I would recommend you do revision is pick a scene, and I know a specific person is a big topic. So what I would do is I would pick a scene, go back in time to, I would say, maybe the major arguments that you might have had with your specific person, and go back to those times, and go back to the exact moment, the exact fight, the exact arguments, the big fights, the big arguments, exactly how they happened. And as you put yourself in those moments, and you're looking through your eyes, first person, putting yourself, reliving that experience again, because essentially that's what you have to do when you go back to revise the situation. You have to relive it. And I know it's hard for a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with it being hard. And if it takes time to get to that point, trust and understand that that is 100% okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Take your time, do it as you can do it, heal as you can heal. But go back to those moments as they happen, those bad moments, those big major moments. And then how I did it was I went back and I relived it as it happened in my mind. And I said Ho'oponopono to those moments, to those arguments, to those fights as they were happening, as they happened. So if it was a random, argument over the phone, I would put myself in that position of being on the phone, and I would hear the words that I said, hear the words that an SP might have said, and I would just do Ho'oponopono in that situation. And sometimes what I also did is I would step out of myself and I would watch it and I would view it like I were watching a movie. I would do that sometimes as well. And I would say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I pretty much did that until I felt like it stuck, until I felt like some sort of relief, until I really felt like, okay, I really let this go. Because I think something that people do when they do revision is they do it once and they think that's enough. Or they do it once or twice and because they want to move on, they're in such a hurry to get what they want that they don't really stick to it like they should. So with me, what I did was, like I said, I would stick with the revision until I felt like, okay, there's some sort of release. So I would do Ho'oponopono, whether like I said, whether it was an argument over the phone or whatever the case may be, I would do it. I would see myself in that scene and I would just forgive myself. I would forgive the person. I would release all of that negative energy around that scene. And then I would move on to another scene that happened, and I would do that and I would do Ho'oponopono. I would revise those situations with Ho'oponopono combined until, like I said, I felt some sort of release. And that's any argument or any big major thing that happened that I could think of off the top of my head. I did that for. And then once I did that with Ho'oponopono and I forgave the situation, I forgave the past, and I healed all of that type of stuff, then what I did is I would go back to those situations again and I would replay them as I wished it to happen, as I wished the scene to unfold. So again, let's use this situation with SP. What I would do is I would take this argument situation over the phone. If there was a phone argument over the phone, what I would do is I would go back and I would, imagine me on the phone through my eyes in whatever room I'm in and whatever the scene was at the time that the argument, took place. I would be on the phone and I would just replay the conversation as I wished it to happen. I would say words that I wish I would have said, that I wished it to have happened. I would hear the SP say the words that I wish that the SP had said, and so for instance, if it's an argument over the phone and somebody's on the phone and I'm on the phone and I'm saying, oh, I hate you, I can't stand you, or whatever the case may be, what I'm saying? You would just simply imagine yourself saying, listen, I love you, I care about you, et cetera, things like that. And then if your SP said hurtful things to you, you would go back to that scene, like I said, after you do the Ho'oponopono to heal it and bless it, you would go back to that scene again and you would say to yourself, you would hear your SP say things like, I'm so sorry, I should have never did that. I'm so sorry, I just can't, whatever, live without you, or whatever the case may be. Basically you're turning all the negative words that they said into positive words that, you want them to say. And you're doing that for yourself as well, because I'm sure some of you guys have said things that you wish you never said, as well as your SP. So you go back and you just revisit the conversation and you say words that you wish you would have said, and you make your SP say words that they wish they would have said. You know what I'm saying? And it's really that simple. You know what I'm saying? And this is a practice where I don't believe in telling you guys to do this every day, because I don't believe in making this manifestation stuff a job, because like I said, a lot of you guys turn this stuff into a job and then eventually you quit and you don't want to do that. But what you want to do is you want to do this, I would say if you have stuff to really clear from your past, I would say I would do this maybe 3 days a week. you know, and you can do it at different times. You know, if you want to do it before you go to sleep at night or when you first wake up in the morning, that's fine because it's super powerful. As you know, the subconscious mind is most fertile in those moments. But you don't have to, you know, as long as you get in a relaxed state. I want you guys to understand something. As long as you get in a relaxed state, a lot of times, and do any of these techniques, whether it's revision, whether it's affirmations, whatever the case may be, as long as you're in a relaxed state, do any technique because it's going to be good for your brain, because your brain is now going into alpha state, you know, and then a theta state after that, you know what I'm saying? And in order for the brain to learn and pick up and remember things, your brain has to be in an alpha state. It can't be in a beta state, you know. So like I said, it doesn't really matter. You guys just want to make sure that you're actually doing it, you know. Doing it is more important than all of the other stuff, because like I said, most people don't actually do it and heal the way that they're supposed to. So I just wanted to jump in here real quick and talk to you guys about how I did revision, you know, how it worked for me, and this, and kind of like the steps. And, you know, I did it personally throughout the different times of the day. I didn't just stick to, you know, before bed or when I first woke up in the morning. I did it when it felt necessary. I did it when I was relaxed. And yeah, I mean, I got results, you know, pretty much. I went back to, like I said in the beginning of the video, I went back to different moments, different times, etc. And I did the Ho'oponopono as it happened. And I just basically healed until I felt like a release. And I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And then once that happened, I went back and created the new scene as I wished it to happen. And you can do this for arguments with friends, relatives, bosses, relationships with your SP, money. You know, if you lose money or whatever the case may be, like, you can revise the scene from happening the way it happened to happening and how you wanted it to happen. Instead of, if you lost money, you can imagine not losing. You can imagine finding the money, or imagine it, you know what I mean? Just different things like that. Like, you guys change the story in your mind. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, Neville mentioned, the cause of all evil is basically the unrevised scenes of the past. Start telling the new story. Stop telling the old story. Tell the new story. And eventually what's going to happen is the old story you're going to forget. You're going to forget the old story. And I know from personal experience, like, there's so many things that you don't even remember anymore because you tell yourself the new story so much and you let go of the old story. Because that's what keeps so many of you in the past is memory. Your memory can be either good or bad. As you guys know, your mind is either going to be your best friend or your worst enemy. And memories are the reason why so many people suffer, is because they continue to remember some shit that happened last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you know. And so that's what I want you guys to understand. Revision is about basically essentially erasing the past in a sense. And it's super powerful how it works. And it's about erasing the past and creating what you want. If you do it again, like Neville says, eventually, the more you persist, everything will basically harden into a fact. It has to eventually. All right, guys, I just want to jump in here real quick and share with you guys how I do revision. Hope you guys learned something. I'll see you guys next time. You know where, you know when.